So, you want to take a good elevation shot.
Today we're going to be going through the steps on how to take, edit, and prepare for a great elevation shot.
Let's get to it. There isn't that much that goes into taking a good elevation shot except the camera, but there are a few things that could make your life easier.
We recommend a DSLR camera with a lens that has a decent focal range. We also recommend a polarizing filter, but it's not necessary.
A tripod isn't necessary either, but it helps stabilize the image. You'll also need a good photo editing software like Lightroom or Photoshop. In this tutorial, we'll be using Photoshop. Good lighting is essential for taking elevation shots. Try not to shoot before dawn or after dusk for the best results.
The first thing you want to do is check the forecast. As long as it's not raining or snowing, you should be able to get some pretty good shots. So first, when you get to the building, what you want to do is you want to familiarize yourself with the area. Walk around the building a couple times, look where you can shoot from. You want to try avoiding trees, power lines, signs, anything that can get in the way of you taking your picture. So when shooting architectural elevation, it's essential that you eliminate keystoning. And keystoning is a type of distortion in an image that causes the building you're taking a picture of to look like it's leaning back or to look more like a trapezoid, an architectural keystone. Ways to prevent this is standing as far back from the building as possible and using the zoom on your camera to correct your composure. And it's also essential that you're standing in the center of the facade of the building, almost to the point where the building looks 2D from where your camera is looking. In terms of camera settings, we're gonna want to make sure that we're always shooting on 100 ISO. This is due to the Photoshop corrections we're gonna need to make later. Our f-stop or our aperture should be set at a high number for a large depth of field, and our shutter speed is going to be used to correct the exposure of the picture. And we want to have the picture so it's exposed on about 2 points or 3 points under the light meter. If you're using a polarizing lens, you can actually get away with 1. Alright, so when taking the picture, we want to avoid any cars going by or anything that's going to get in the way of the picture. We want to line up one of the lines on your 9-zone grid on your camera with something that's not a part of the building in order to make sure that the picture that we're taking is actually level. In this picture, that you can see that since the building's so tall, it is going to lean back a little bit, or appear to lean back a little bit in your image, but that can be corrected later in Photoshop. In this circumstance with this building, since it's a smaller building, we're gonna want to shoot the same way we would shoot the church. It's just gonna make your life a little bit easier because you don't have to get high up like you did at the church, and you can stand a little bit closer to the building without noticing any noticeable keystoning. So we want to make sure that we're shooting the same way that we did the church. We want to make sure that we scoped out the area, walked around the building, figured out where we're going to shoot from, and then most important of all, probably center yourself with the facade of the building. You want to make sure your camera settings are right. You're always shooting on 100 ISO. You're always shooting with a high depth of field, so a high f-stop number, and that you're using your shutter speed to correct the light meter to 1 or 2 points underexposed, and 1 if you are using a polarizing lens.
We're going to start with a tool called lens correction. So once you've opened up your picture in Photoshop, the first thing you want to do is make a copy of the background layer. Right click on the layer and just press duplicate layer, then OK. Click on filter, lens correction, custom, go down to transform at vertical perspective. Depending on which way you slide it will fix the distortion. So if you slide to the left, it'll make the top of the building come forward again and reduce keystoning. That works for us here, -11. Then we're going to go to geometric distortion, which makes the picture either look like it's coming forward or going back. For us, because the picture originally looks like it's going a little bit backwards, we're going to bring it forwards a bit. Adjust the sliders in transform and geometric distortion until the picture is just the way you want it. Click OK. And you can see the difference from the background copy to the lens corrected layer. It reduces keystoning and fixes the image. Every building is different, so here's another example. Once you open up the picture in Photoshop, once again, make a background copy. I've already made a basic adjustment with the levels there to adjust the brightness. Select your background copy layer, go to filter, lens correction, back to custom, and then fix the vertical perspective or remove distortion in the geometric distortion and transform areas. So if we pull this to the left, it makes the top of the building look like it's coming towards us, which is the opposite of keystoning. And then here, we could either make it look like the middle's popping out or the sides. That's about right. Select OK. And now your picture is edited to correct keystoning. This is the before correcting for keystoning, and this is after. And that's how you edit a photograph to correct keystoning with the lens correction tool. If you follow these instructions correctly, you should be able to take good elevation photos and edit them effectively to reduce and correct keystoning.
Thanks for watching the video. Leave a like if it helped you take better elevation shots and if you enjoyed the tutorial.